Jeez. He's leaking a little bit. That's how we make freshly squeezed Gatorade here in Florida, just in case you're wondering. 250 yellow bottle pour right there. All right, everyone, say hey to Fluffy. Fluffy here, he's an American alligator. Now, there's a difference between alligators and crocodiles. The easiest way to tell is by looking at their snouts. Alligators have a more rounded, broad U-shaped snout, plus an overbite. You can see the tops of their teeth, not the bottom set. Crocodiles, they have a more narrow, pointed, V-shaped snout. Both sets of their teeth show, kind of like the croc smiling at you. I wouldn't trust that smile, though. The crocodilian species, they've been around for over 200 million years. These guys are older than the dinosaurs. They've lived through everything, thriving. Mother Nature, natural disasters, they have lived through it all until they lived with us. We almost wiped them off the face of the planet at one point in time. Anyone know why? I think I heard it. They were overly hunted for fashion. Boots, belts, purses, and wallets, whatever you can make out of their skin, which is incredibly soft. That's what they were used for. It is a silly reason to be wiped off the planet, but with conservationist efforts and lawmakers, alligators have made the largest comeback of any animal of all time. Now there's a whopping 5 million in all the southern states combined that have alligators. Just here in Florida, we have over 1 million. So woo, go Gators, right?
Aww.
There's a trick to tell how big an alligator is when he's in the water, because this is about all you see, just his head. So if you measure from the tip of his nose to his eyes, it's about 3.5 inches long on Fluffy here, which means he's about 3.5 feet long and 3.5 years old, which is true. Alligators do grow 1 foot per year until they reach the age of 6. After that, their growth does slow down, but they continue to grow their entire lives. They never stop growing. They can reach ages 80 to even 100 years old. So, for instance, if you see an alligator that has an 8-inch span, that's an 8-foot alligator. You see one that has a 10-inch span, that's a 10-foot alligator. If you see one that has a 14-inch span, run. Well, you better start running then. Guess what, everyone? We do have a 14-foot, 1,000-pound alligator located right behind you guys in that pool. About as big as the benches you're sitting on. His name is Crusher. He makes Fluffy hair look like a little teddy bear. Aww. Ain't he cute? Say Fluffy decided to go for a swim with Crusher, or in the middle pond with all the other adult alligators. They actually would not think twice about eating him. They eat each other, they fight over food and over territory, they will rip each other's limbs off. It's not uncommon to see an alligator missing an arm, or a foot, or a piece of their tail shorter than it should be. Even Crusher's missing a piece of his tail. I'm guessing from when he was this size, because he's the bigger one now doing all the biting. Speaking of bites, I'm sure you all can understand why his mouth is taped shut, right? So he doesn't bite. An alligator this size, Fluffy, has enough power in his bite to crush all the bones in my hand and even take off some of my fingers. This one. What about Crusher? His name pretty much says it all. You can almost call him a bone crusher. And an alligator that size has around 2,500 pounds of pressure per square inch of bite force or more. You can throw a cinder block in his mouth, he can crush it, no problem. But all that power went to the closing of their jaw, not the opening. That's why I trust this right here. It's not super awesome alligator mouth shut tape. It's just electrical tape. But the reason I trust it is because on any size alligator, even 14-foot Crusher, all it takes is the power and pressure of 2 fingers to hold their jaws shut. That's it. Even you could do it. Yeah, here, I'm going to take the tape off. You show everybody how to hold his jaw shut. No? Okay, I'm just kidding. They can also reach speeds up to 30 miles per hour on land. That is in short spurts. He's not going to run a marathon, luckily. But has anyone ever heard of running zigzags to get away from an alligator if he's chasing you? Well, that's good, but it's a lie. So everyone knows it is a myth. Their eyes are located on the sides of their head. So if you're running zigzags to get away from them, you'd be running directly in their line of eyesight. But there is a trick to get away from an alligator if he's chasing you. Everyone's in Florida, so I would listen. They do have a blind spot straight ahead. That's what you do. You run straight, you run super fast, you trip the person next to you, and you'll get away just fine. That's what you do. And because we have so many alligators here in Florida, people think it's a good idea to feed them. Is it a good idea to feed a wild alligator? No, it's actually very illegal to do so here in Florida, but there's a good reason for that. Normally when an alligator sees us in the wild, they're typically afraid of us. They will turn around and go the other way, and a lot of us like it like that. Well, say someone starts to feed him. The problem is the alligator, he's going to remember that. They're very lazy and opportunistic hunters. So they're going to associate us with easy food. He didn't have to hunt. He didn't have to do anything, but now the problem with that is he's definitely going to remember that. And every time he sees one of us, he's going to expect the same thing. Now he's going to come swimming up to you guys wanting food. But he's not this big anymore. He's now that big. And you don't have food, so guess what he associates you with? Food. Yes, they cannot tell the difference between you and a cheeseburger, just that we equal food. So that's unfortunate, but it happens here in Florida due to people feeding them. It's also unfortunate for the alligator. Now they're tagged as a nuisance alligator and their fate is to be destroyed. They are put down and sold for their skin. All of our alligators here in Wild Florida, they were brought here as nuisance alligators. We rescued them from being put down. You can feed them here if you like. One reason, there's a very strong fence around the pond. And two, they're never allowed to be released. They have to live here with us at Wild Florida for the rest of their lives. They're actually far too dangerous to leave here. And you'll see what I mean by a nuisance alligator. When you walk out to Alligator Pond, they all start to swim right towards you. And really fast. Some sit there all day with their mouths wide open wanting you to do what? To jump in. Or feed them. Alright, so who here has ever held an alligator before? You're a professional gator angler? So if the tape falls off, I can count on you. I know I can't count on this one. So, who here would like to become a professional gator wrangler and hold Fluffy? Alright, well, I have great news for all of you. You all will get a chance to hold him. It's going to be so awesome. It is free to hold him. We do ask no personal photography. Due to it does come back and help take care of the animal.